We're going to talk about today people that were your friends or are your friends, or maybe they used to be your friends. And anyway, they hate your guts, or they just don't like you, or they talk bad about you, or whatever it is, they're turned against you. These are people that maybe you've grown up with. Maybe you've been with them your entire life, and out of nowhere, they just turn on you. And of course, when they do that, they're going to blame you, point to your faults, tell you everything that's wrong with you, and why they're doing it. They have to. They justify. They have to justify themselves. So they're right and you're wrong. It's part of how the world and the people of the world deal with humans. But in the book of Matthew, Jesus tells us to do it differently. And I remember early on in my Christian walk when I'd stumble and fumble, and many of you have probably been there. You still in the mindset that you think you have to do, you have to do these efforts, you have to make these changes in your life instead of allowing Jesus just to dwell inside of you, and the Spirit ultimately then will change you because your identity is already secured in Him. You already are part of His family. You are seated with Him in the heavenlies at the right hand of the Father. You just haven't grasped that yet. So, though you're saved, your mind and your actions sometimes aren't those. And I grew up, as some of you know, Catholic, and some of my friends, they're still in the righteous, critical. You have to do, it's you, and you call yourself a Christian, but you still do this, and you know what I'm talking about if you've been through that. Well, I had one particular friend that he literally, we did everything together. We did a lot of good stuff together, but there was a lot of bad we did together. He went on and got married, and he now is this righteous man. Wound up chasing everybody's life off, but including me. And he wound up being real righteous. And there were some attacks that came after me. And, I just had to deal with him. And I'm telling you, in the flesh, I wanted to respond to him how he responded to me. But Christ in me told me he may not be perfect, but in this manner, you're not going to respond that way. You're not going to tear another human being down. And in Matthew, this is where we're going to talk about this. And if you have those people in your life, even those you love, it could be family, it could be a lifelong friend, if they turn on you, you're hurt, you're wounded. How you respond is up to you. Let God deal with them. Let them off. Someone does something wrong, there's a saying, let them off your hook. They're still on God's hook, So God will deal with them down the road, eventually. Either they're going to realize they were wrong and their heart will soften and it'll come back to you, or B, they're just going to have a hard heart and He'll deal with them down the road. So let's talk about two things. It comes out of the book of Matthew, and I'll tell you some notes I have here from my grandson in his Bible. Go the second mile, verse 39. This is chapter 5, verse 39. But I tell you not to resist the evil person. He who slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other to him also. Now, I'm not saying this. This is a note I have, insult versus punch. Insults to turn the cheek, it's words. Don't even pay attention to it. Punch, no one is saying not to defend yourself or get beat up, but always seek peace. And that's one thing I had to understand. What I was getting was insults. It was words. Today we are so insulted in society. We're triggered. We're insulted. We're victims off of words. And this is an opportunity where Jesus is saying, turn the cheek. Turn the cheek is in strength, not in weakness. I could do this, but I'm not. I could respond this way, but I won't. It's you saying that may be how you deal with situations, but if there's one thing I know inside, God taught me was not to deal with people that way. So I'm going to let you get away with it and turn the cheek. Your pride may take a shot, but your spirit will come alive. Or you can respond in anger and worldly and flesh, and your spirit will take the hit. I'd encourage you, let your pride take the hit. So I want to go on because I'm going to leave you a recipe for this in a minute. The next one's love your enemies. This is verse 43. For you've heard it said you should love your neighbor and hate your enemies. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those that curse you, do good to those that hate you, pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. I wrote this life lesson. I spent years at times trying to figure out how to get someone back. It's not worth it. Romans 12:14-21, and I'm going to give you that in a minute, is a great way to deal with people. Your enemy, or those you have conflict with, expect you to respond how they would. Flip that. Respond in love, and they won't know what to do. So Romans 12:14-21 gives you this recipe. Bless those who persecute you. Bless, do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep. Be of the same mind toward one another. Do not set your mind on high things, but associate with the humble. Do not be wise in your own opinion. Repay no evil for evil. Have regard for good things in sight of all men. If it is possible, as much as it depends on you, live peacefully with all men. Beloved, do not avenge yourself, but rather give place to wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, and I will repay, says the Lord. Therefore, you ready for this one? If your enemy's hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him drink. For in doing so, you will heap coals of fire on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And I wrote the word gold right here in this Bible. That is gold. If as humans we can understand that no matter what someone's coming at you with, if you can always be one step in kindness ahead of them, then they won't know how to deal with it. They may go on and badmouth you, but my father taught me a lesson. When you're sitting there throwing dirt on somebody, throwing mud all over them, all you're doing is losing the ground next to you. In other words, you're losing credibility. You're losing the argument if they don't respond back. They respond in quietness, meekness, gentleness. That's okay. But you're going to want to throw in the mud. And by you being kind, it's burning them up inside. And it's like heaping fire of coal on their head. So I hope that helped if you got a conflict in your world today. I hope that helped in gentleness. And there's one other thing I would encourage you to do, and we can talk about it later. But forgive. Forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. And then if that doesn't work, bless them and start praying a blessing on them. Lord, I forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. They just don't have the knowledge. They don't know. And they have anger. And Lord, I bless. I ask you to bless this person. Bob, Joe, Jim, Kim, Sue, whatever their name is. Bless them that one day they will know you, Father. And they will understand the love that you have for them, and will treat others in that love. Hope this helped you today. That's just a little life lesson I've left. God bless you. Have a great day.